Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. This is WireDogSec, back with another video for you guys. In today's video, we are in TryHackMe. This is the Advent of Cyber 2024 event, and this is day number 3, or task number 9. And it says, even if I want it to go, their vulnerabilities wouldn't allow it. Now, I would highly recommend you start the attack box and also the machine for this room, because it does take some time for this machine, the VM, to spin up and have all the services and everything running properly. Now you may need to start and stop and start everything again and again to see if it works, depending on the amount of traffic that's hitting these particular machines. You might run into some errors, but like I said, you may need to wait like 10, 15 minutes for everything to spin up and start running. Now that's out of the way, let's go ahead and dive into it. Hopefully you're having an awesome day today and ready to learn something. The story. Today's AOC challenge follows a rather unfortunate series of events for the glitch. Here is a little passage which sets the scene for today's task. Late one Christmas evening, the glitch had a feeling, something forgotten as he stared at the ceiling. He got up out of bed and decided to check a note on his wall: 2 days in snow sec. With a click and a type, he got his hotel and tickets and sank off to sleep to the sound of some crickets. Luggage in hand, he had arrived at Frosty Pines to get the conference. Just followed the signs. Just as he was ready, the glitch got a fright, an RC vulnerability on their website. He exploited it quick and made a report, but before he could send arrived his transport. In the Frosty Pines SOC, they saw an alert. This looked quite bad. They called an expert. The request came from a room, but they couldn't tell which. The log saved the day. It was the room of the glitch. All right, in this task, we will cover how the SOC team and their expert were able to find out what happened, Operation Blue, and how the glitch was able to gain access to the website in the first place, Operation Red. Let's get started, shall we? Learning objectives. Learn about log analysis and tools like ELK. Learn about KQL and how it can be used to investigate logs using ELK. Learn about RC, which is remote code execution, and how this can be done via insecure file upload. Connected to the machine. All right, basic instructions. Okay, you're going to need the attack box. You're going to need the VM. So start up both of those. Like I said, it could take some time for this VM to start up as well. And also, it will depend on the amount of traffic that's getting hit for this particular task here. All right, click the green start button, which I've already done. Attack box start up here. I have both of them started up here. I'm already have Elasticsearch open, ready to go. And it says Operation Blue. In this section of the lesson, we will take a look at what tools and knowledge is required for the blue segment. That is the investigation of the attack itself using tools which enable is to analyze the logs. I guess supposed to say which enables us to analyze the logs. For the first part of Operation Blue, we will demonstrate how to use ELK to analyze the logs of a demonstration web app, Wareville Rails. Feel free to follow along for practice. Log analysis and introducing ELK. Log analysis is crucial to blue teaming work, as you have likely discovered through this year's Advent of Cyber. Analyzing logs can quickly become overwhelming, especially if you have multiple devices and services. ELK, or Elasticsearch, Logstash, and Kibana combines data analytics and processing tools to make analyzing logs much more manageable. ELK forms a dedicated stack that can aggregate logs from multiple sources into one central place. Explaining how ELK collates and processes these logs is out of the scope of this task. However, if you wish to learn more, you can check out the Investigating with ELK 101 room. So check that out if you want to learn more about that. For now, it's important to note that multiple processes behind the scenes achieve this. The first part of today's task is to investigate the attack on Frosty Pines Resort's hotel management system to see what it looks like to a blue teamer. You will then test your web app skills by recreating the task or the attack using ELK. Upon loading the URL here, it's going to be different for you, whatever IP you have, so be sure to check out this link and open that into your attack box, okay? You will be greeted with the ELK homepage, which I have already done. We can see there For today's task, we will use Kibana's discovery interface to review Apache 2 logs. To access this, simply click on the three lines located at the top left of the page to open the slide out tray, which I like to call the hamburger icon. This under the analytics heading, click on Discover. So this is what they look like here in this GIF. Discover, and there we go. So let's go ahead and do that here. Hamburger icon and Discover. Now it's loading up. All right, looks good to go. We will need to select the collection that is relevant to us. A collection is a group of logs. For this stage of Operation Blue, we will be reviewing the logs present within the Wareville Rails collection. To select this collection, click on the drop down on the left to display. So it's going to look like this here under the left side there. So let's go ahead and do that. Okay, and there's the drop down. There we are. Click it. There we go. Once you have done this, you will be greeted with a screen saying, no results match your search criteria. This is because no logs have been ingested within the last 15 minutes. Do not panic. We will discuss how to change this shortly. Okay, and that's exactly as we saw here. Should be pretty simple to change. To change the date and time, click the text located on the right side of the box that has the calendar icon. Select Absolute from the dropdown, where you can now select the start date and time. Next, click on the text on the right side of the arrow to repeat this process for the end date and time. It says for the Wareville Rails collection, we will need to set the start time for October 1st, 2024 at midnight and the end time to October 1st, 23:30. So let's go ahead and do that here. Okay, here's the date and time stuff here. And let's see. There we go. Okay. So we need to select absolute and then we need to go to October 1st and that's going to be midnight. And yeah, yeah, okay. Make sure I have everything correct here. Okay, so that looks good. And then we're going to change this to absolute. Go back to October. Okay, and then 23:30. Should be good to go. Update here. And now we should have some logs. 811 hits. Okay, I think it's looking good here. All right, now you can look at this GIF again. It'll show you through the process, all right? But we just went through it. 811 hits. Okay, so we're good to go here. And let's see here. If you are stuck, refer to the GIF below. Please note that the day and time is in this demonstration of Wareville Rails will differ from the times required to review the Frosty Ponds Resorts collection in the second half of the practical. So remember that here, you're going to have to change the dates and times and also the collection. Now that we can see entries, let's go over the basics of Kibana Discovery UE, which is user interface. All right. Okay. All right, search bar. Here we can place our search queries using KQL, search bar. Index pattern. Index pattern is a collection of logs. This can be from a specific host. For example, multiple hosts with a similar purpose, such as multiple web servers. In this case, the index pattern is all logs relating to Wareville Rails. So number two is that here, the drop down. 3. Fields. This pane shows us the fields that Elasticsearch has parsed from the logs. For example, timestamp, response type, and IP address. And that's it right here. Number 4, timeline. This visualization displays the event count over a period of time. And that's what it looks like here. This area here is what they're talking about. And we're going to go to number 5, documents, logs. These entries are the specific entries in the log file. So this here. And number 6, time filter. We can use this to narrow down a specific time frame, absolute. Alternatively, we can search for logs based on relativity, i.e. last 7 days. And that's up here. Kibana Query Language, or KQL for short. KQL, or Kibana Query Language, is an easy-to-use language that can be used to search documents for values. For example, querying if a value within a field exists or matches a value. If you are familiar with Splunk, you may be thinking of SPL, which is Search Processing Language. For example, the query to all documents for an IP address might look like this. So we get IP.address, colon, and then inside of double quotes here, you have the IP address, right, as it looks here. Alternatively, Kibana also allows using Lucene query, an advanced language that supports features such as fuzzy terms, searches for terms that are similar to the one provided, regular expressions, etc. For today's task, we will stick with using KQL, which has been enabled by default. The table below shows a mini cheat sheet for KQL syntax that you may find helpful in today's task. So here's the table here, double quotes, description, example. The two quotation marks are used to search for specific values within the document's values, and quotation marks are used for exact searches. Example is right here in double quotes. You got TryHackMe. You got the star or asterisk. The asterisk denotes a wildcard, which searches documents for similar matches to the value provided. An example would be United star. So it would return United Kingdom and United States. You have this logical operator is used to show documents that contain either of the values provided. Example would be United Kingdom or England. So you would get results for either of these. And you have the AND. The logical operator is used to show documents that contain both values, so bin and 25. So anything that has bin and 25 in it, it's going to show those results. You have the colon. This is used to search the specified field of a document for a value such as IP address. Note that the field you provide here will depend on the fields available in the index pattern. So as we saw earlier, IP.address and the IP address. All right, seems pretty straightforward. Investigating a web attack with elk scenario. Thanks to our extensive intrusion detection capabilities, our systems alerted the SOC team to a web shell being uploaded to the Rails booking platform on October 1st, 2024. Our task is to review the web server logs to determine how the attacker achieved this. If you would like to follow along, ensure that you have the Rails collection selected, and we already did that earlier. To investigate the scenario, let's change the time filter to show the events for the day of the attack, setting the start date from October 1st, 2024 at midnight, and the end date time to October 2nd, 2024 to midnight. So we need to change this to midnight. Yeah, October 2nd to midnight. So should be simple to do. I'm gonna go back up here, 00. All right, there we go, update. Okay. You will see the logs have now populated within the display. Please note that the quantity of entries hit in this task may differ to the amount of on the practical VM. Okay, so they had 1028 here, and let's go ahead and check ours. All right, so we still have 811 hits apparently. Okay, make sure this went through correctly. Yeah. All right. So it says an incredible beneficial feature of Elk is that we can filter out noise. A web server, especially a popular one, will likely have a large number of logs from user traffic completely unrelated to the attack. Using the fields pane on the left, we can click on the plus and minus icons next to the field to show only that value or remove it from the display respectively. One fun fact, clicking on these filters is actually just applying the relevant KQL syntax. Note in the GIF below how the logs are being filtered to only show logs containing the IP address 10.13.27.115, reducing the count from 1028 to 423 hits. We can combine filtering multiple fields in or out to drill down specifically into the logs, right? So this is what it looks like here. All right. It says to remove applied filters, simply click the X alongside the filter just below the search bar. And this is what they're talking about here. In this investigation, let's look at the activity for this IP address here. So I'm going to copy that. It says we can click the client IP field to see the IPs with the most values. Okay, so let's see if we can find that. There it is, client field. See the most values, and we need to get this .230 IP. There it is. Okay, click that. Now we're going to see everything for this. All right. Yep. Okay. Using the timeline at the top, we can see a lot of activity from this IP address that took place between 11:30 and 11:35. This would be a good place to begin our analysis. Okay, so looks like we get the same thing here, 1100 and 1130. Each log can be expanded by using the greater than icon located at the left of the log slash document. Fortunately, the logs are pretty small in this instance, so we can browse through them to look for anything untoward. And this is what they're talking about here. Okay, so if we go in and you can click this arrow next to it, see it drops down to a bunch of other stuff in here. Okay. After some digging, a few logs stand out. Looking at the request field, we can see that a file named shell.php has been accessed with a few parameters C and D containing commands. These are likely to be commands input into some form of web shell, and this is what they're referencing here. Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. Be sure to hit the like button, comment, and subscribe. Once you subscribe, be sure to hit that notification bell. All right, so you know every time I post a new video. As you can see here, most people that view my videos, view my channel, are not subscribed. Now, if you do subscribe, it will help me get into the YouTube algorithm so that we can continue to grow our glorious community here. As always, thank you all for taking the time to watch. Have a nice day and enjoy the video. Right, so whenever we do the practical, we're going to be looking for suspicious things such as suspicious files like this. Let's continue on. Now that we have an initial lead, let's use a search query to find all the logs that contain shell.php using the search bar at the top, the query message colon, and then inside of double quotes shell.php, which is the file in question that we saw from the screenshot. It says we'll search for all entries of shell.php in the message field of the logs, and it should look something like this for the results. All right, seems pretty straightforward. Operation Red. In this section, we will now take a look at the red aspect, in other words, the attack itself and how it was carried out. Why do websites allow file uploads? File uploads are everywhere on websites, and for a good reason. Users often need to upload files such as profile pictures, invoices, or other documents to update their accounts and receipts or submit claims. These features make the user experience smoother and more efficient. But while this is convenient, it also creates a risk if the file uploads aren't handled properly. If not properly secured, this feature can open up various vulnerabilities attackers can exploit. File upload vulnerabilities. File upload vulnerabilities occur when a website doesn't properly handle the files that users upload. If the site doesn't check what kind of file is being uploaded, how big it is, or what it contains, it opens the door for all sorts of attacks. For example, RCE. Uploading a script that the server runs gives the attacker control over it. XSS. Uploading an HTML file that contains XSS code, which will steal a cookie and send it back to the attacker server. That's cross-site scripting, by the way, and this is remote code execution. These can happen if a site doesn't properly secure its upload functionality. Why unrestricted file uploads are dangerous. Unrestricted file uploads can be particularly dangerous because they allow an attacker to upload any type of file if the file's contents aren't properly validated to ensure only specific formats like PNG or JPEG, JPG are accepted. An attacker could upload a malicious script such as a PHP file or an executable that the server might process and run. This can lead to execution on the server, allowing attackers to take over the system. Examples of abuse through unrestricted file uploads include the following: uploading a script that the server executes, leading to remote code execution; uploading a crafted image file that triggers a vulnerability when processed by the server; uploading a web shell and browsing to it directly using a browser. Usage of weak credentials. One of the easiest ways for attackers to break into systems is through weak or default credentials. This can be an open door for attackers to gain unauthorized access. Default credentials are often found in systems where administrators fail to change the initial login. Details provided during setup. For attackers, trying a few common usernames and passwords can lead to easy access. That's right. There's a There's there's lots of word lists out there, but a famous one is called rocky.txt, which is used a lot in attacks such as these, and also in password cracking, stuff like that. Below are some examples of weak/default credentials that attackers might try. So you get usernames and the password over here: admin, administrator, admin at domain name, admin, guest, and guest. And yes, I have tried these in the real world and actually was able to log into specific systems. You'd be surprised that you go to an organization, you think it's going to be really highly secure and stuff, then you go out and you try to just use default credits to log into like printers and other things, and you'll be surprised as you log in with the default credits. You're like, wow, are you kidding me? Anyway, let's continue on. Attackers can use tools or try common credentials manually, which is often all it takes to break into the system. What is remote code execution? RC for short. RC happens when an attacker finds a way to run their code, run their own code on a system. This is a highly dangerous vulnerability because it allows the attacker to take control of the system, exfiltrate sensitive data, or compromise other connected systems. All right, web shell. A web shell is a script that attackers upload to a vulnerable server, giving them remote control over it. Once a web shell is in place, attackers can run commands, manipulate files, and essentially use the compromised server as their own. They can even use it to launch attacks on other systems. For example, attackers could use a web shell to execute commands on a server, move laterally within the network, download sensitive data, or pivot to other services. A web shell typically gives the attacker a web-based interface to run commands. Still, in some cases, attackers may use a reverse shell to establish a direct connection back to their system, allowing them to control the compromised machine remotely. Once an attacker has this level of access, they might attempt privilege escalation to gain even more control, such as archiving root access or moving deeper into the network. Okay, now that we're familiar with a remote code execution vulnerability and how it works, let's take a look at how we would exploit it. Practice makes perfect. To understand how a file upload vulnerability can result in an RCE, the best approach is to get some hands-on experience with it. A handy and ethical way to do this is to find and download a reputable open source web application which has this vulnerability built into it. Many open source projects exist in places like GitHub, which can be run in your own environment to experiment and practice. In today's task, we will demonstrate achieving RCE via unrestricted file upload within an open source railway management system that has this vulnerability built into it. That's right, there's a lot of them out here. You can do a quick Google search on how to find vulnerable VMs. There's one called like OWASP Juicebox. There's a few other ones out there as well I've used and played around with. Exploiting RC via file upload. Now we're going to go through how this vulnerability can be exploited. For now, you can just read along, but an opportunity to put this knowledge into practice is coming up. Once an RCE vulnerability has been identified, that can be exploited via file upload. We now create a malicious file that will allow remote code execution when uploaded. Below is an example of PHP file, which could be uploaded to exploit this vulnerability. Using your favorite text editor, copy and paste the below code and save it as shell.php. So we're going to go ahead and copy this and flip back over to the attack box. That seems to have disconnected somehow. All right, now let's go ahead and let's see if I can just minimize this. Okay, that was weird. All right, apparently I have two of these open. Anyway, so let's just do, you can do a nano shell dot php. Oops, and I put the wrong file name in there. So let's try this again. Nano.php, and then we're going to paste this over as soon as I copy it correctly. All right, copy, and let's try this again. All right, awesome. Okay, so we're going to hit Control X, save it. Yes. All right, so that's done. Says the above script, when accessed, displays an input field. Whatever is entered in this input field is then run against the underlying operating system using the system, open close parentheses, PHP function, and the output is displayed to the user. This is the perfect file to upload to the vulnerable rel system reservation application. The vulnerability is surrounding the upload of a new profile image. So to exploit it, we navigate to the profile picture page. And this is what it looks like here. So they're going to click this choose file, and then upload the file there, and then access it later on. Instead of a new profile picture, we can upload our malicious PHP script and update our profile. All right, success. In this case of the application, the RC is possible through unrestricted file upload. Once the profile picture is uploaded and updated, it is stored in the admin assets image profile directory. The file can then be accessed directly via the proper URL. Okay, so your IP address or localhost, project name, admin, assets, image, profile, then shell.php, because that's the name of the web shell that we uploaded. When this is accessed, we can then see the malicious code in action. So it's going to look like this, very fancy. Now we can run commands directly against the operating system using this bar, and the output will be displayed. For example, running the pwd, which is print working directory, now returns the following. All right, so let's print the working directory of where this is located here. You can see it's an opt, lamp, pp, etc., etc. Making the most of it. And let's see what they are talking about here. Once the vulnerability has been exploited and you now have access to the operating system via a web shell, there are many steps you can take depending on A, what your goal is, B, what misconfigurations are present on the system, which will determine exactly what we can do. Here are some examples of commands you can run once you have gained access and why you might run them if the file or if the system is running on a Linux OS, like our example target system. Right, so you can see all kinds of commands here and their usage. So you get ls will give you an idea of what files, directories surround you. Cat, command used to output the contents of documents such as text files. PWD will give you an idea where in the system you are. Who am I? Let you know who you are in the system, host name, the system name, potentially its role, etc., etc. ID, ifconfig. You can see the rest there, so be sure to read through everything here, especially these down here. You might um, need these on exams or possibly CTFs. Okay. These are just some commands that can be run following a successful RC exploit. It's very open-ended, and what you can do will rely on your abilities to inspect an environment and vulnerabilities in the system itself. Practical. All right, finally. Your task today is twofold. First, you must access Kibana here to investigate the attack and answer the blue questions below. Then you will proceed to the Frosty Pines Resort website, which is this here. Um, it says, and recreate the attack to answer the red questions and inform the developers what elements of the websites was vulnerable. Please note, to access frostypines.thm, you will need to reference it within your host file. On the attack box, this can be done by executing the following command in the terminal. So let's just go ahead and do that so we don't forget. And we already have the terminal open, so we're going to paste. There we go. Flip back over. If you not see an IP address, only machine IP, ensure that you have started the machine IP or the machine by pressing the green start button further up in the task within the heading connecting to the machine. To review the logs of the attack on Frosty Pines Resorts, make sure you select the Frosty Pine Resorts collection within Elk, such as below. Okay. The date and time that you will need to use when reviewing logs will be between 11:30 and 1200 on October 3rd, 2024. All right, so this is what it looks like here. It says remember to access the Frosty Pines Resort website here. You will need to reference it in your host file on the attack box before it's done. All right, we already did that. Um, so let's go ahead and minimize all this. Now that I am in the correct Elastic search area, I have the Frosty Pines Resort in this tab here. But anyway, we're doing the blue team stuff first, so we need to switch the drop down to the correct one. It's going to be Frosty Pines. Okay, already have it selected, and then the correct date and time, October 3rd, and it was 11:30 to 12. So change this to 12. There we go. Hit update. All right, now it should be good to go. Flip back over, blue team. Where was the web shell uploaded to? And it's going to be in this format here. What IP address accessed the web shell? All right, so go ahead and try to figure that out. Then come back to the video and we will continue on. Same thing with the red here. What is the contents of the flag.txt file? So try to figure these out yourself. Come back to the video and we will step through it together. Let's go ahead and take a look here. Now, the first one, we need to find the location of the web shell directory. Okay. Now, what I did was type in message colon shell.php inside of double quotes because maybe they were lazy and named the file the same thing as we saw earlier in the task as we were reading through it. And you can see here, there's a lot of suspicious activity going on here. So let me hide this chart. You can also look at the chart too to try to narrow down some activity. You can see a lot of events happening during these time frames. All right. Anyway, let's go ahead and hide this so we make this a little bit bigger. And it says get media images rooms shell.php. So this looks like the answer we are looking for. And yeah, you can see a question mark command equals ls. As we saw from that screenshot in the task earlier, they're running commands on the system. So you got echo, glitch, glitch.txt. There's a bunch of other stuff going on. ID, it's running all kinds of crazy stuff here. All right, so highly suspicious. And let's go ahead and plug this in. Awesome. What is the IP address associated with the web shell? So the IP address is going to be this one. It looks like this dot 34. And let's plug that in. Awesome. Now, the red team side of things, what is the contents of the flag.txt file? All right, so let's flip over, shift gears to this area here. And this is the some kind of hotel thing. Let's see here. So we need to find a place to upload the shell to. Oh, what was that up here? Account. Sign up accounts. Now, of course, with any type of like web app, website, whatever, you want to cruise around in here, try to see what you can poke and prod at. And you can see that we need to have an account, which we don't have. But let's see. I guess you can either sign up for an account if this works, or you can just go straight to login here. Now, they did reference inside the task, there was the default credits that you can try like this. So you can put this up in like a password spray, credential stuffing type of attack, what have you, to target login portals. So let's try this admin at domain name and then admin. All right, because it's talking about email here. So let's try admin at, and then the domain is going to be this here. So I'm going to copy and paste it out of this. Okay, paste this in. Looks good to go. Oop, let me get rid of this extra stuff. There we go. Now we're going to try admin, and maybe it'll work, maybe it won't. Oh, okay. Looks like it worked. Cool. So we'll have to look around here and let's see where we can upload stuff. Oh, all right. 2 users in here, 6 rooms, etc. So we can go to, let's see, users. We can add our own stuff in there. There's admin1 at gmail.com. So that could be another thing to take into consideration. If you're doing like a pen test or something, maybe you can add a backup account or something in here in case you get kicked out. But who knows? But anyway, so we're looking for a place to upload stuff. And let's see what this does here. Oh, there's image. Okay. And let's see here. Image here. Oh, there's a browse. Okay. Let's see. Let me go back. And all right. Usually what you want to do is try to add a new. Okay, there's add new room. Okay, there we go. This is what I was looking for. Add a new thing inside of here. 'Cause usually you don't want to edit something that's already in there. You might jack up something if you're dealing with like a production system. But anyway, so let's go ahead and upload our web shell. All right, now we are in the root directory here, or the directory called root. Okay, now you notice that our file doesn't appear to be in there, but if we go back to terminal, we can see that it's obviously in there. So what you need to do here is go down here where it says all supported types, change this to all files. Okay, and then click on your web shell, open. Okay, let's see if it lets us add this, and it does. So now we need to navigate to that particular area and see if we can get into our web shell. So let's go ahead and do that here. Now, to make things easier in here, You can edit this particular entry, whatever one you're going to use. Okay. Room number, you can change that to whatever. Room name, I changed it to hacked. Okay. You can see here, this is the shell.php one that we have already uploaded. You just hit this blue button here, edit room. Success, done. Now you're wondering, well, where's the web shell? How do I get to it? You can right click, go to view page source. There's probably other ways to do it, but this is the way I'm doing it. So view page source, which I already have open there. Went down and located shell.php. You can do like a control F, try to find the file, or just manually navigate and look around in there until you find it. So this looks like the interesting link here. Let's go ahead and navigate to it. Okay, awesome. So we can do who am I, right? www data ID. Okay, now you can do an ls. There's the flag. Now we want to get that flag. So let's do it. Let's go ahead and cat it with flag or cat flag.txt. There we go. So there is the contents of that, and that's how you do it. Pretty straightforward for that. And that wraps up this particular task. If you enjoyed the content, if you found it of value, be sure to hit that like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new here. Hit the notification bell so you know every time I post. Comment below your thoughts and opinions on the information shared in the video. Also, there is a side quest apparently for this, but you cannot record or upload any type of recordings, live streams, or anything for the side quest until the event is pretty much over. Now, I'm not sure if I'm going to do the side quest or not. We'll see if I have enough time left, and I'll take a stab at the side quest. And then, of course, I'll upload it after the deadline, after the event is over, because that's the only time when you can upload these videos according to the instructions. But yeah, there's a side quest. You have to navigate through there and figure out what's going on there. All right. So if you're asking for hints and stuff in regards to side quests, right now I haven't even looked at it. All I did was like a quick look at the title of it and it said side quest. Okay, and I probably won't have anything uploaded until the event's over with because I'm trying to abide by the rules of the event so I don't get disqualified. All right. Thank you all for taking time to watch the video. Have a nice day. Check the description box for additional resources, and I will see you at the next one.